We welcome you to Championship Sunday here at the 2023 World Beach Ultimate Championships. The fifth and final day of competition started with the French taking their first ever gold medal in the mixed division, and now the women's final featuring two North American neighbors, USA and Canada. Hello again, everybody. Welcome with Katie Killebrew. I am Evan Lepler. Great to be with you for the next chapter of Ultimate History. And USA 13-0 in the semifinals over the Philippines. Katie, that says a lot about the powerhouse that the Americans are. But Canada has some powerhouse players that they feel can match up with the best in the world, and they're ready to give the Americans their best shot.
Absolutely. There's been a lot of games played in this women's division, having to play more than any of the other divisions with the 7 teams that started. And I think that it's really the depth of these rosters and the willingness to save them for this moment.
It's a great scene here at the Stadium Showcase Field in Huntington Beach, Canada. They lost once to Spain in their B pool, but they avenged that loss with a 12-7 win in the semi. Anushka Beaudry and Britt Dos Santos have been the dynamic duo for Team Canada. And for the USA, look, they have outscored their opponents by a ridiculous 117-31. That's a goal differential of 86 in just 9 games. They've beaten their opponents by over 9 goals per game. Beaudry and Dos Santos are going to have their hands full, but they have been spectacular all week long.
Yes, really leaning into the chemistry between these two players. They are absolutely elite, and they're going to have to play that way in order to make inroads against the U.S. today.
Britt Dos Santos with her older sister, Crystal. She's an important member of this Canadian O-line as well. But we'll see how many points Anushka and Britt play. You know, the sand can be exhausting. They want to keep their O-line French, but if they fall behind, they're going to need them to cross over. And meanwhile, Claire Trope just continues to be fantastic. She's number 2 in the women's division in goals scored, which you don't see a whole lot with American teams because the scoring is usually balanced, but she has been the finisher.
Yeah, just a nose for the end zone on grass, and that translating well to the beach, changing direction so quickly and always having eyes up looking for the disc in that space. I love how quickly she's off and moving. Anytime she throws, she's moving again, and really fitting in well as a cog in this American onslaught of offense.
Well, it has been 8 years since the USA women won gold at Beach Worlds. They suffered a heartbreaking loss in the 2017 gold medal game against Russia. But that's the gold that the U.S. is hoping to wear later on today. It's a beautiful day for Ultimate Frisbee by the beach. USA and Canada, the women's gold medal match, is next. We have been so fortunate that the weather has, for the most part, cooperated all week long. There's a slight breeze today, but nothing that will take over the game. That has been the story since play began here on Wednesday. The first Beach World Championship event since we were all in Royan, France, 2017. Claire Trope was still a teenager then, Katie Killebrew, and yet she has morphed into arguably the best player in the world, and I'm not sure who argues that right now with what she's done over the past couple years. The USA World Games team, and now looking for another gold here on the beach. We're underway. Canada begins the game on offense, and let's see how they handle the American pressure D, led by Cammie Groom and Lisa Pitcaithley. Dina Elimelech out there as well. Jessie Brown able to get it to Crystal Dos Santos, back to Anushka Beaudry.
Upfield, it's Dos Santos guarded by Trope. That's a matchup I am looking forward to seeing. And there we have it! Right off the bat.
Claire Trope gets the block on Britt Dos Santos, who is shaken up and slow to get up on the play. So Britt is going to take an injury holding near her right shoulder. We will keep our eye on the Canadian superstar.
A little shaken up after that contact. I think that the contact coming after the disc was touched, but certainly still felt by the players.
Lisa Pekafis had a great tournament as well. Floats it to the break side, but too far for any of the cutters in pursuit. Crystal Davis and Claire Trope were both nearby, neither able to make the play, so that's a break chance squandered for USA on the opening point. Beaudry picks back up, goes to Britt's sister Crystal with Britt on the sideline. Alyssa Mason, who's usually been the leader of the D-line for Canada, but a World Game star herself, on the field after the injury sub. Leaving her feet, able to keep possession alive though. Jessie Brown to Crystal Dos Santos. And that throw can't connect with Mason.
It's like she tried to step on a step that wasn't there, missing in the sand. And because I think normally, from what we've seen earlier in the tournament, those are usually caught by Mason.
Trope for a bidding Crystal Davis in what could be her final competitive elite ultimate game. Shooting it to the end zone, and it's Amy Zhou for the score. USA begins with a break.
We saw in the first game of the tournament, USA versus Spain, that Crystal Davis made such an impact in the sand. So smart with the disc, and this one, the spacing too far for Davis on that one, but after a couple of turns where the sand was certainly sucking at the feet of players, Davis just so calm and collected here with the disc. And the float, the speed of the disc under, you can see it just softly coming down and so easy on the reception. Most of the work there being done by the throw.
What a career for Crystal Davis as Britt Dos Santos does retake the field. There's Sam Broaddus, the head coach of Team USA, with her assistant Sean McCall in the background. And Crystal Davis didn't start playing Ultimate, Katie, until she was 25 years old. It's an uncharacteristic path. She was on the Beach World's Masters women's team 8 years ago in Dubai. Made the women's team 6 years ago, but became pregnant with her first daughter. Deep shot will work, and it's Crystal Dos Santos running it down, beating Lindsay McKenna, an important early equalizer for Canada.
Canada did a really good job of spacing themselves out in this point. On the field, there's no one really in that deep space, and Beaudry putting it up and out, letting the receiver run into that space. It's a really important use because USA defense was really clamped down on the underneaths, and the throw again doing the work there.
Just how good has Anushka Beaudry been this week? Entering this final, she was tied for 4th in the women's division in goals scored. She was 3rd in the women's division in assists. Entered this game 24 goals, 17 assists. Only players with more assists were Spain's Cristina Navasa and Philippines' Eileen Piquero. And it's possible, Katie, that Beaudry surpasses them. She needs 4 assists to match that duo at the top of the chart. And I wouldn't be surprised if she has 5 in this final. USA on offense for the first time with the O-line Ellie Mellick and Rudin, and now the deep shot for Becky Malinowski.
And that was a pull play from the U.S. They knew exactly who they were throwing to each and every throw. Malinowski coming down with that.
Well, 2015 in Dubai, it was an Anna Nazarov forehand on Universe Point against Russia on a windy day at Jumeirah Beach in the UAE. And then 2 years later, after leading 10-6, it was 10-all, and Cree Howard thought she had the block, but it was Olga Podolskaya for Team Russia, capping a miraculous comeback win. Beach results since 2007. Well, we saw Spain earn the bronze medal, their first medal at the Women's Beach World Championships. And how about the French mixed team? The first ever beach medal in the mixed division for France, and it's a gold.
Poaching look from the U.S., trying to block the throwing lanes.
Great chunk play, and Beaudry sending Britt Dos Santos. It's a perfect put. Trope was beaten by a step. If the throw had been off ever so slightly, she would have had a play, but she had none because of the pristine angle on that throw from Anushka Beaudry, her second assist.
The U.S. came down on defense, and they were trying to put their biggest players on the mark, and then Canada goes around and goes quick off the bat and not letting the defense set. Claire Trope had been poaching, catches up and makes up ground, but not enough to catch up with Dos Santos. If they're going to throw that defensive look again, I think they're going to have to think about the deep space a little bit more.
And look, that's a sequence that might have been a turnover on the first day of the tournament, as the Canadian women were learning the features of the beach, the atmosphere, the wind, the speed. Chatting with Coach Stephanie Chow of Team Canada, she said, we've been working on the beach all week long, and we've really developed our chemistry. They went up a couple breaks in their first game against USA before the Americans rallied to win. These two teams played again in a relatively meaningless game. That was 13-2, but there's a great sky from the tall Jamie Erickson. Maggie Rudin reset back to Erickson in the end zone. What a revelation Jamie Erickson has been these past couple of years. Out of UT Dallas, mixed division with Public Enemy, a year with Seattle Riot, and was one of the top stars for DC Scandal throughout the regular season in Women's Club.
You can see these two players having a discussion about that play. Jamie Erickson, a player who's worked really hard. This is her first game with Team USA. You can see why she was selected for this team. That reception, her height and the beach is so hard to stop. We've seen Benedict get big plays earlier in the tournament, but not on that one. That one was all Erickson.
So another assist for Maggie Rudin. Of course, Maggie, along with Becky Malinowski and a handful of others, were part of that 2017 team that let the gold slip through their fingers against Russia. And they've had to wait a long time to try to bounce back on the beach.
Yeah, Maggie serving as a captain for this team, making defensive calls. A rolling pull from Fennick.
Caithley hustles down to cover, as does Amy Zhou. Beaudry wants it all. Crystal Dos Santos makes it look easy. Canada was broken on their first O-point, Katie, but their last 3 O-points have been clean.
Yeah, and they've all been Beaudry to A. Dos Santos, the two sisters, accounting for both, or all 3 of Canada's goals. That one going to Crystal. I love watching Anushka Beaudry throw. She has such a subtlety to her throws, but also a power, and that precision on the beach is so hard to stop. Defenders having a disadvantage, and in this one, Beaudry's just throwing her teammates open and making them look good.
So you're right, every goal has been a Beaudry assist. 1 to Britt, 2 to Crystal. And we're tied 3-3. USA up a break in this game to 13. With a gold medal at stake. Canadian women have never before won a medal in the women's division at Beach World, so they've already made history. Finished 4th each of the last 2 events in Dubai and France respectively. Claudia Tajima, another veteran of Royan. For Bridget Meisner, part of the wave of North Carolina products that are going to take over the ultimate world, and the throw through the fingertips of Dina Elimelech in the end zone. So Canada will go into the breeze with their first break chance here.
Chorus for Canada, really having made an impact on the tournament. Her first international appearance, very often going every other for this Canadian offense on the other side. You can see making a lot of cuts there.
Floater, dangerous, and a foul was called on Meisner. Virginie Malte discusses with Meisner. Contest going back to Mason.
Yeah, there's no game advisors or observers here on the beach. All players are responsible for their calls. Benedict out of her hand.
Good defensive pressure by Jamie Erickson there with her, stride for stride. Tajima picks up her longtime Boston teammate Malinowski, flips it right back to Claudia. And it's a 4-3 lead for USA.
That was the first time we've seen Canada have a break opportunity. They weren't able to really cement that because the defensive pressure from the US was there. Just not enough on that one, too much for Benedict. And Malinowski putting it out into space. I mean, that is such good awareness of the lane. Tajima having come up in and around that angle that she took on that throw, making it possible.
Becky Malinowski's had a fantastic tournament. Member of Boston Brood Squad since 2012, the University of Michigan product. The only member of Team USA, Katie, that's entered the final with double-digit goals and double-digit assists. Canada back on O. Maggie O'Connor on Britt Dos Santos in the lane, and now they switch with Bova picking her up. Back to Brown. Beaudry's downfield in the end zone. So it's Dos Santos in the backfield, dishing to Brown. Beaudry comes back near the disc, but it finds Crystal Dos Santos. Her sister was cutting, but Bova was there defensively. Brown marked by McKenna. Gets it to Britt. And the backhand to the break side to her sister. Britt to Crystal. And I'll tell you what, Canada has stabilized here offensively, and they have made a statement that they can be competitive with an American outfit that shut out the Philippines 13-0 in the semis. An astonishing performance yesterday from USA, but Canada playing USA tough here in the first half. USA back on offense. A 4-4 game here in the women's final. Tajima and Meisner under pressure in the backfield, and Erickson comes back. The wind is becoming a slightly more significant factor in this game, Katie. You can see the flags whipping in the background. Tajima takes the shot. Malinowski is there. And that duo delivers again on offense for Team USA.
Malinowski is a tall player, but I think sometimes doesn't get credit for the amount of work she does moving back and forth and creating space for herself. It's making receptions that are actually a difficult read look easy because she keeps putting herself into space. This is coming back on the other thing. You can see her turning away there, and it's then anticipation of the disc, reading it as the wind picks up. It's a really great reception there from Malinowski.
She just has a knack of almost always being open, particularly here on the beach.
As soon as they drop you, just come in. The mark's feeling so flat. It's kind of backhand, and it's not an easy break. We're not hitting that very well.
It's amazing how after a successful point, they're chatting analytically about everything that could have happened, everything that might happen. Not satisfied. Beaudry sending Crystal Dos Santos, and this time the throw sails too far.
You can also see that the U.S. is learning and adjusting, taking that competitive edge. There were two defenders in the space that time, changing what Canada had to look at and giving them the turn.
Tremendous defense after the turn. It's Cook that gets the block on the high stall Robin Fennig forehand. Beaudry picks up, and there's a call. Trope and Dos Santos very friendly, jockeying for position. They've guarded each other a lot over the past couple of years. Uncontested offensive foul. The call. Britt does get free. And over the defense and off the hands of Crystal Dos Santos in the back corner of the end zone. That was an ambitious shot there, Katie, and it was unclear when she left it hand whether it was to Beaudry, who was kind of slashing to that space. But no, it was the back corner. Clearly Crystal Dos Santos and getting a fingertip on it, but unable to bring it in. Fennig looking long for Davis. And that's the fourth turn of the point. Here at 5-4 first half.
It's these sort of points where you can see a momentum shift sometimes happening. You'll see a clean game, and then it's a couple of back and forth turns, and it's those pressure moments where you see who actually comes out on top and who wants it more.
We have not seen either team score to the upwind end zone yet. Here's another downwind shot. Britt Dos Santos, incredible! Absolutely spectacular.
In that moment, Britt Dos Santos wanted it more, and who threw it to her but Anushka Beaudry. Those two really putting on a show for the spectators here.
After something of a marathon point, to dig deep and make that catch is incredible. Fennig really had no options, and it was a great block from Canada's Brittany Cook. But the story of the point was just the will and desire of BDS.
Yeah, she crawled off of the field after that, definitely feeling the impact on that huge layout score. And they're sitting getting some hydration from her teammates.
The sand in some ways is forgiving when you land on it. In some ways it's more taxing when you land on it and get a face full of it. USA looking to score downwind, but the throw goes right to the defender, and Mason able to turn her head and smack it down.
Yeah, the wind is picked up, like you were saying, Evan. It's a little bit upwind, downwind, so Canada, if they can do this to go upwind all the way, it would be a huge break for them.
Mason thought about it. Ellie Mellick with a long arms mark. Chorus continues for Malte. Benedict is downfield, chased by Rudin, and the reset goes awry. Ellie Mellick is taken off. Tajima throws it, and it, for the second time, hits Ellie Mellick's hands in that part of the end zone, but lands incomplete.
I coached against Dina for a long time when she played for UC San Diego, and I got to coach her when she played for Astra, and she's just a player who is going to relive those moments and want to get better from them, and she's going to put a huge defensive effort in this point if I know her at all.
Huge opportunity here for Canada, but there's a pick called, and it's unclear when it happened. Mason caught that huck about 10-15 yards from the upwind end zone. Canada as close as they have been yet to an upwind break. And I think the disc is going to stay with Mason, but perhaps they're asking Benedict to move back. I'm not sure.
Yeah, sometimes the most difficult part of calls in this is figuring out when it happened and where the disc should go back. Another violation being called, as you see arms going up in the air.
Can't overstate the magnitude of this moment here, Katie.
No, it's 5-5. And so far, the U.S. hasn't really played a tight game like this in this tournament, because all of the teams knew that it was really going to come down to this moment in the final. You got to punch your way here, and then you knew you were going to face the U.S. when you got here. Can this team live up to the hype? They're excellent players across the board, of course, but are they an excellent team? We'll see after Canada takes a timeout, and more coverage to come soon in the women's division.
It has been an absolutely marvelous week here in Huntington Beach, California. The waves of the Pacific set a beautiful backdrop for the Beach World Championships of Ultimate Frisbee. And Canada just used its only timeout of the game. The D-line with its best break chance yet, and a game that's tied 5-5 to Katie's point before the break. I mean, USA's closest game of the entire tournament has been 13-7. Mason initiates against Ellie Mellick. Over to Benedict. To the space, and it's a tremendous layout swat from Jamie Erickson to deny the score.
She turned it over earlier and gets that one back.
Tajima sending it downwind. Erickson and Ellie Mellick are nearby. Dina needs one more throw. Now takes the reset. Tajima searching, scanning, throwing, and assisting. Maggie Rudin punches it in, and Canada's upwind break to take the lead would not come to fruition.
Excellent effort there by Canada's defense. It was really testing this line from the U.S., getting many turns, but not able to convert. As we're seeing the wind pick up, this is the first time the wind has actually been a story at this tournament at all.
Wouldn't be Beach Worlds without the wind being a factor. It's funny that it's taken to Championship Sunday to really make scoring upwind a chore. See members of the USA mixed team here. They're certainly sad by their loss in semis, but they bounced back to beat a strong German squad in the bronze medal game. And the team that upended them in the semis went all the way. Congrats to 44-year-old ultimate legend Nasser Mbaye-Vogel and that entire France team for just making everybody smile. They were down 3-0 in that final, and you probably thought it was Spain's day. Not so much.
I think Spain thought it was their day too, but France had other ideas.
So Canada back on O, going downwind. Here's Beaudry. Pretty good dump defense by Fenig. Again, the Trope Dos Santos matchup. One to watch. Cook has it now and launching deep. Beaudry in the end zone, but Cook's throw would not hang long enough.
That's certainly a throw that I think is a completion on grass. And in this one, maybe those tired minds thinking, oh, I have Anushka Beaudry open in the end zone, throwing it inbounds, but just a little bit too far for the receiver, not able to get the legs underneath her, and giving the U.S. a chance at this break. They're up one already before the wind kicked in, so they'll have to go upwind. They certainly have the throwers to be able to do it.
No one has scored in the upwind end zone yet, and Anushka Beaudry, who has thrown so many goals, just got her first block here in the final, laying out to deny Zhou. Dos Santos. Britt to Crystal. To Beaudry. Lefty backhand to the break side. That's just so tough to guard on the beach. Flat mark from Trope. Dos Santos goes around it and hits Beaudry for the equalizer, 6-6. Is it coming back?
They may be calling this throw out as we have people crowded around the replay booth on this reception from Beaudry, looking at it again.
It has been called a score, and I can see the conversation, but it does look like her foot was down as she made the catch.
Yeah, that review is part of the WFDF rules where players and coaches can look at the replay or any evidence in order to make the most correct call. And I think that that's one of the beautiful things about the rules is players can have a discussion about it, quickly get to an answer, and then get to the other side of it. Canada staying with the U.S., Evan.
Their top players are playing like top players. And the Americans have not been able to do much going in the upwind direction. Canada's really had the best break chance going to the end zone to our right. But the half began with a break, but it's a break from a D-line standpoint, not a break from an upwind, downwind standpoint. All 12 goals have been scored consecutively in the end zone that Canada's pulling from right now.
And in this 1 point before half, we're seeing the only offensive contributors all coming over to defense, with both Dos Santos sisters and Beaudry, along with Benedict and Mason, making a defensive stand from Canada to try to get this break.
And this is the kill line for Canada. Malinowski, though, gets it back from Rudin. Maggie over to Meisner, and Tajima is wide open. 7-6, USA takes half. USA's up a break, and they will receive to start the second half, but they'll be going into the wind, so Canada will be pulling downwind when we come back. We were hoping we'd get a competitive game. Looks like we've got one. USA clings to the 1-goal halftime lead. Fantastic views here, the beaches in Southern California. The women's final with the USA leading Canada 7-6 at halftime. There's Maddie Sang and Nancy Sun, some ultimate legends that are here supporting this great event. We welcome you back to our broadcast booth. We got a special guest along with Katie Killebrew. This is John Neighbors, and for those of you who don't know, he's a 4-time Olympic gold medalist as a swimmer. You've had a fantastic broadcasting career, and I know you've done Ultimate before. What's it like being here and watching this Beach Ultimate World Championships?
The Ultimate I called was on grass. This beach is a much more condensed and, in my opinion, much more exciting game. Scores very, very close to each other, and the weather is just ideal. So this is a perfect place to do it. Katie, I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am.
I do, being a Southern California resident. I am so excited to welcome the world into this beach atmosphere in Huntington Beach, and we couldn't have had better weather for the entire tournament.
What are your impressions, John, of Ultimate Frisbee and how it's evolved from when you called it, what, in the 80s or 90s?
Yeah, it's been a while. The thing that impressed me today is the observation that whoever's got the disc is the only person not moving. Everybody else is in constant action, and it makes it very exciting for those of us on the sidelines.
There's a celebrity game afterwards. Are you in?
Oh, with my brand new knee, I'll have to think about that.
Well, you could probably guard Tim Rockwood because he's not that quick these days either. John, when you think about what the Olympics have been and what they've become, I mean, there's a lot of folks in the Ultimate world that would love to see Ultimate on the grandest stage of sports one day. What are your thoughts on what the possibilities in that regard could be?
I remember when beach volleyball was introduced to the Olympics at the games in Atlanta, and all of a sudden it became a party. And the difference between the atmosphere of a party and the atmosphere of a solid, I won't even not call it solid. This is solid competition, but it was a whole lot more fun. The attitude was just great, and I'm really enjoying the festive atmosphere here as well.
Ultimate players know how to party, and they had an extra hour to either party or recover from the party thanks to the end of daylight saving time being early this morning. John Neighbors, former Olympic gold medalist, thanks so much for joining us and being here, and hope you enjoy the second half.
I'm looking forward to it and loving your call. I get to hear you.
Thank you very much. You're welcome to stick around, hang out. The party continues, and goodness, that pull never came in. What an astonishing error from Canada to give USA just a golden chance, no pun intended, at an upwind break here. It's a hold from a serve perspective, but it would feel like a break being the first upwind score if they could get it. Maggie Rudin on the goal line, resets for Meisner. Inside forehand, finding Malinowski. And the Americans take the 2-goal lead.
I feel a little bit stunned, Evan, and I think Canada might feel the same way. In this tournament, we've seen such good pulling, and that one was sailing out, but as it landed out of bounds out the end, it never came in, and that kind of angle on a throw is so difficult, and it is good work from the Americans here at the end zone. I mean, would you want anybody else but you know, Meisner and Malinowski connecting? But Canada, I think that part of the game was just maybe the only thing I can think of is a brain fart. It's just giving the U.S. a point, and the U.S. is not a team that you can just gift points to if you hope to get them back. We saw Canada stack a line earlier, but now they're going to have to work on their offensive line upwind.
And this is a much better pull to the back of the end zone. It landed in and rolled out, so Canada will walk it to the front. 45 meters to go to the front of the other end zone, but into the teeth of, I don't know if you'd call it a stiff breeze, but it's a steady, moderate breeze. That is absolutely a factor, along with the USA defense. Trope continues to try and slow down Britt Dos Santos. Back to Beaudry.
It's certainly stiff enough to be a factor in the decision-making of Canada's offense, therefore letting the U.S. defenders not have to worry about the deep space and be able to be so close.
Oh, Beaudry was stumbling as the throw. The short reset went up and she caught it while tumbling down. Great concentration from Beaudry. And the deep shot going, testing Trope, who just accelerates for the easy block. It was just like she hit the go button, and all of a sudden she was side by side with Britt Dos Santos. Lisa Pitcaffley sending Crystal Davis. She's got it! 3 goals in a row for Team USA.
USA wastes no time going the other direction. The disc that Trope Deed was an interesting deep shot look, but because it's going upwind, it sits too long and doesn't even let the receiver get a chance, I think, going shorter. And then this one from Pitcaffley out for Davis. Crystal Dos Santos makes up so much room, but the focus there from Davis in order to cement that break. Great poise from the Americans.
Team leading 22nd assist to the tournament for Lisa Pitcaffley. Let's go back to the first pull of the second half. Here it is. Pulled out of bounds, and the wind did not let it ever come back in. And that's why USA started on the goal line.
And I think earlier in the tournament, before the wind picked up, that downwind pull would have landed in the back of the end zone. It would have been a great pull, but because it didn't cross the boundary inbounds, it went all the way back up the field. I think that being an inbounds pull is better than a long pull, especially in windy games, because you can work a couple of yards, but to work the full length of the field is really difficult. And I think that that pull and that start to the second half is something that Canada is really going to want back, because they've played excellent in this game so far.
And technically, the first point of the second half was a hold, and this last one was a break, but it kind of feels like the opposite. Britt Dos Santos forced to play a lot of points here out there with Mason. Shot to the end zone, swatted down by Maggie O'Connor.
O'Connor, a player that I have coached, has worked so hard to be on this squad.
Jessie Schaffner wanted the throw back as soon as it left her hands.
Yeah, catching on the end of her finger there, a little bit of a swing and a miss.
Going back to O'Connor, though, someone that you know well, I mean, she says her career highlight was making this U.S. Beach national team.
She is a player who cares so deeply about her teammates and game, whatever team she's on. Playing for Flipside, the U.S. team out of San Diego. So this is almost like a home field turf for her.
A little over an hour away, or 5 hours away, depending on traffic.
That is how it is in Southern California.
Brito Santos to Alyssa Mason, floating it to the end zone for a bidding Beaudry. Her remarkable performance just continues to astonish. 2 goals, 4 assists, and a block for Beaudry. And Canada is back within 2.
You know, I've seen Anushka play on grass several times, but this is the first time I've seen her play on beach. Canada not having a lot of beach experience, but Beaudry's game, I think, is really built for this. A foot, actually, I think, for McKenna touching this, but Beaudry tracking it down anyway. Her game really excelling and showing off in this beach atmosphere for Canada.
And Mason does pick up the assist, and Lindsay McKenna has to feel like she was a fraction of a millimeter away from just completely canceling that throw with her ankle.
I feel mixed about allowing foot blocks in beach because I think sometimes it can kick sand up into other players' eyes, but certainly great defensive effort and intensity from McKenna, usually being a player with big defensive assignments in the mixed game, doing a great job of making a defensive impact so far for the U.S.
And a turnover. Tajima can't connect with Rudin. So Canada will pick up near midfield after the USA hiccup. And this is the opportunity that Canada needs to pounce on if they're going to have a chance to win gold here.
Yeah, I think the defensive credit for that one has to go to the sand, being difficult to run in.
Benedict with a sizzling backhand for Cook. Malte guarded by Meisner. Benedict with a good little handler cut, but the throw just won't be caught. Well, that's a killer drop for Canada. Meisner, big eyes, looking for Rudin. Rudin spun around and cannot recover.
Meisner didn't really look at anybody else, really looking down this same the same sideline, and that one was really difficult to read, and we can see where the turnover comes. Rudin looking disappointment, having had throws go beyond her reach twice in this 1 point. You can see it's a Maggie O'Connor fan club, lots of her Flipside teammates coming up from San Diego to support.
And Canada just unable to complete passes consistently with the D-line. Rudin gets it back from Tajima. Sets up Malinowski. Becky looks for a reset, looks downfield, and tries to squeeze it through, and it's off Tajima's hands at the goal line.
Alyssa Mason taking an injury, walking off there. Beaudry coming in.
Looks like Pitt Caithley's going to come on for defensive purposes for Team USA, replacing Meisner. Those two will guard each other. Beaudry takes off, Pitt Caithley chasing, and the throw is blocked. Oh, what a great adjustment late from Lisa P.
And that's why I love the like-for-like sub on an injury, so you get a fresh defender on a fresh offensive player.
It's been a long point for those who have been out there from the start. Each team has given it away 3 times. And either the Americans will go back up 3 or Canada will inch within 1. Malinowski to Tajima, not in yet. Wide open, Pitt Caithley. 10-7.
U.S. is just inching closer here. You can see that Canada's legs are starting to get tired, but this could have been such a momentum-shifting game. So many turnovers in this point. We've talked about it in the tournament. When you get tired legs, it really comes down to who wants the disc more. Erickson thought she didn't have a reset there, really laying out for it. But this one was in the U.S.'s favor. They were able to stay with their matchups a little bit longer. And then Caithley, who came on, was a little bit fresher, finding that outside space and knocking up the stats.
The bookends for Lisa P.
You know, I've watched Lisa McCaithley play for a long time, maybe longer than others, because I played against her when she was in high school, and her dad has been on the sideline in many things. It's special that he gets to come down and continue to support her ultimate career now that she's in Colorado most of the year.
How good was she in high school? Did you think she would be this caliber of player?
Yes, she was annoyingly good, and she knew it too. So I think that actually she's become more humble as she's gotten older. She had quite a lot of swag as a senior in high school.
She's still got the swag, and so does Lindsay McKenna. The layout block on the under against Mason. Robin Fenig didn't release it the way she wanted to, and it's easily picked off by Britt Dos Santos. And Britt sends it deep, looking for Beaudry. She's got it. Still work to do with Ellie Mellick counting the stall.
Mason back on the field. Good to see her after she took that injury. Stagnant upfield.
Mason guarded tightly by McKenna. The crossfield hammer never had a chance.
Beaudry is giving it everything she has, but she really had no options there. Canada running a much smaller rotation of players than the USA. USA leaning into their depth, and it's starting to show in the later parts of this game.
And that's really the difference in these two teams, and we knew that coming in, and Canada knew that coming in. I mean, I was chatting with Stephanie Chow, and I said to her, you have the top level players to compete with the USA, and she said, yeah, it's just, do we have enough of them? So there's an understanding. It's not a secret here. And Canada's playing hard, but you can sense the gas tank running a little bit low. Still scoring upwind. If Canada can get one upwind, it will change the game. USA takes their timeout, and we will take it to the Americans, leading 10-7 as we close toward gold in the women's final. Where would you rather be than right here, right now? Huntington Beach, California, the first Beach World Championships in a half dozen years. USA, Canada, classic North American battle for the gold. Out of the timeout, Robin Fenig will initiate, marked by Anushka Beaudry. Fenig has McKenna, Trope, Ellie Mellick, and Davis. Has throwing options in, it's almost a Callahan. Intercepted by Brown, quick dish to Britt Dos Santos. That could not have been the USA play. And Canada's back within two. My goodness.
It's interesting what a timeout can do. Sometimes we see it coming back in and teams thrive, and in that case, that static movement, that static position starting is so difficult, and Canada reads it like they're learning hooked on phonics so easily and really punching it back in. It's just a breath of life for the Canadian team. It seemed like we were going one way, and then Jessie Brown said no.
I mean, an 11-7 lead probably would have felt insurmountable, although we said that 6 years ago in France, so we should know better.
Absolutely. I think that game has haunted a lot of these U.S. players. It's very difficult in a tournament where you've been up, you've won all of the games, and then suddenly you get into the gold medal match, and none of the work that you've done before really matters, because it is just this game that shows for the rest of time how you did on that one field. It's one of the brutal and beautiful parts of Ultimate, is that it all comes down to one game.
Yeah, one of the fun feelings waking up this morning as a player, as a fan, as a broadcaster, knowing that what unfolds today will be ultimate history for decades. Deep shot for Jamie Erickson. She runs it down. USA goes up 11-8 and takes the gold medal in the women's division. Valiant effort from the Canadians, but the cap had gone on. And one downwind shot to Jamie Erickson, who's been a superstar this tournament and this season for USA.
Shaking off those jitters and the echoes from the last effort in 2017. It's gotta feel good. Erickson's still on the ground down there. Such good effort from both teams. Canada bringing it closer than any other team at this tournament in this gold medal. USA leaning into their depth.
Final stats, 13 turns for the US. Canada had 6 break chances and just could not cash in on any of them. And I had this conversation with Goose Helton on a broadcast yesterday, Katie. We need to make these rounds longer, particularly on Championship Sunday. I mean, who doesn't want to see this game continue to 13? Maybe the players, because they're tired. But the fans who are watching would be easily convinced to sit and spectate for another 15, 20 minutes. Alas. Silver for Canada. Certainly respectable performance. But it's gold for the USA after they fell just short last time out 6 years ago in France.
And they played a really complete tournament. They used the entire depth of their roster. It's one of the things I really respect about this team. A lot of them haven't been teammates before, and they worked really hard this week to grow that chemistry, to do that. We saw a couple of missteps, but certainly nothing that they weren't able to rebound from. Letting them glory in those cheers. I've heard a lot of variation on USA cheers this week. I gotta give creativity to whoever's doing those USA cheers. It's been fun to listen to.
How about Crystal Davis walking through the handshake line with her 2 kids? She didn't play in 2017 because she was pregnant with her first daughter, and now gets to walk through the gold medal clinching handshake line with her 2 little girls. That's got to be super special in what she feels will probably be her final tournament at the elite level. She joked earlier that she will never do another track workout again. And that is understandable after years and years of dedication to the game. We'll take a quick timeout and then chat with a couple players from both teams. USA 11, Canada 8. The Americans back on top in the women's division here on the beach.
Katrina Allen. Maria Oliva. She's done it. Kristen Tatar.
Side. Ananda. Macy Galavia. Champion Open at Austin. Paige Pierce.
Well, that's 2 of the 3 Sunday finals in the books here at WBUC. If you're confused by the acronym, it's because it changed from 2017 when it was WCBU. That was a little befuddling, but here we are, World Beach Ultimate Championships, and the Americans have won the gold in the women's division. We're joined by Becky Malinowski. Becky, congratulations. It's been a long 6 years since you had the opportunity to compete on the beach at the world level. What's it feel like to be back on top in the women's division?
It feels great. I mean, it's always a bit of a different team and a different experience, but we're all grateful every time to be able to compete at this level.
It's been a special opportunity to see all of you come together. What was it like building chemistry with people that you've just played against before?
I mean, it's one of the great things about this sport is the respect we have when we compete just makes it that much more joyful when we get to come together as a team.
Canada gave you a battle here in this final. You handled them in the couple pool play games, but what made this game more tough, and how did y'all get over the hump in the second half, do you think?
I think they made a lot of adjustments defensively that made us really second guess a lot of the looks that were open for us early in the week. And this tournament format was definitely a little weird, and it favored a very deep team like the U.S. So we knew that today, with only one game, that Canada was going to be able to bring the intensity every point.
Becky, I know this doesn't erase what happened 6 years ago, but how much has that game stuck in your mind over the past half dozen years, and how good does it feel to get gold again on the beach?
I mean, it's always going to stick with me. It feels good that we did our job this time.
You sure did. Congratulations.
Yeah. Excuse me, I would like to say that we put a statement on our social media today, and we would like to direct people to look at that and check out Ultimate Palestine. There will be a raffle jersey giveaway to raise money for Ultimate Palestine.
Very cool. Is that just on the Team USA Instagram account? Where can people find it?
Yes, it's on the Team USA Instagram account, and also everyone else is retweeting it. So.
All right, great stuff. Becky, congratulations. Go enjoy the rest of the day here on the beach as a gold medalist.
Thank you.
Becky Malinowski has had a phenomenal career. What a couple of weeks. A club championship with Brute Squad as the underdog, and now another world title. And it was also a fantastic performance from Canada this week. Let's chat with Britt Dos Santos, who did not play hockey growing up and is not the older of the Dos Santos sisters. And I again apologize, Britt, for that mistake. What a week it's been. I mean, how has the feeling evolved for you from Wednesday morning to now with this team coming together, and you got a silver medal around your neck in moments?
It's been great. I think at the beginning of the tournament, as a team, we'd never played together. We had, I think, one training camp for like 3 hours beforehand. So I think nobody was really knowing what to expect going into this. And we only have, I think, 2 returners on the team from the last cycle. So we were kind of just went in with the mindset of let's have fun, and we play our best when we're having fun. And as the tournament went on and we developed that on-field and off-field relationships, I think it really showed to our play and how we could come together in this final and give USA a good game, probably their closest game this entire tournament. I think we're all super proud, even though it's a loss. It's a good loss, I'd say.
We saw you give full effort crawling off the field at one point. What is your goal going to be to bring this kind of beach energy and effort into the rest of Canadian Ultimate, back to the other women who are playing in Canada?
Yeah, I don't know, every time we play, I think we hope to inspire. And Canada, a lot of people, we don't play till we're very old. A lot of people retire really early. So I think hoping that people see, like, we have a few older players on our team and see that they can still play at this level, at this high level world level, and kind of like boosting those younger kids and bringing back some of the old dogs, I guess, and just like moving forward with Canadian Ultimate, because obviously the US is much bigger. They have, I would say, more longevity in their program. So really hoping that we can do that with us.
Britt, thanks so much for your time and for your spirit all week long. Go get your silver medal. It's waiting for you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Britt Dos Santos, one of the standouts of the tournament, no question. She and Anushka Baudry and her sister. But, man, this USA team, I mean, they were talented, they were favorites, and they delivered. Britt was right. This was USA's closest game. Previously, it had been 13-7. This was 11-8. This was tough. But that upwind break on the first point of the second half was massive.
Yeah, top to bottom, the U.S. just put on a show. Not one player making a statement, but really the full program.
And a 10-8 game-winning goal finds Jamie Erickson in the deep space to win it. The Americans take it 11-8 in the women's final to clinch the gold medal. That's 2 gold medal games in the books and 1 more still to come. USA-Spain in the men's division comes your way in 30 minutes. But it has been our privilege bringing you this women's final. USA back on top on the beach in the women's division. For Katie Killebrew and our crew, Evan Leffler saying so long for now from Huntington Beach.